Resist the mainstream. Put in the work and make it right. August 10, 2024. From Resist the Mainstream. See it. Don Lemon stunned by voter responses in Deep Blue State. In a series of eye-opening street interviews, voters have thrown a curveball at mainstream media expectations by expressing surprising support for Donald Trump over current Vice President Kamala Harris. These candid conversations, conducted by prominent news outlets, have sparked intense online debate and raised questions about the disconnect between media portrayal and voter sentiment. Don Lemon, the disgraced ex-CNN broadcaster, found himself in the spotlight after his interviews in Atlantic City, New Jersey, went viral. The clip, which has garnered over 2 million views on X, showcases voters consistently favoring Trump's presidency. In terms of economic stability, one particularly notable exchange features a voter laughing off Lemon's attempt to challenge his personal experience. In another instance, Lemon asks a male interviewee if his resistance to Harris is based on gender, a suggestion the voter firmly denies. Massachusetts Rep. Brain Mast said on X of the Lemon interviews, "Privileged media hacks like Don Lemon told you Joe Biden was fit and your eyes were lying. Right? They told you Kamala Harris was never the border czar," he continued. "Now they have the gall to tell you to ignore your bank account, your grocery bill, and the price at the pump. Right? Similarly, ABC News faced its own revealing moment when a young black woman in Wisconsin expressed her preference for Trump. She cited concerns about Harris being caught up in a lot of lies and criticized the vice president for allegedly reproposing Trump's policies, such as the proposal to eliminate taxes on tips. These street interviews come at a time when Harris's relationship with liberal media outlets appears to be shifting. Critics have accused left-leaning publications of providing overly favorable coverage to the vice president, with some even labeling it as propaganda. Right? This alleged media bias is now being called into question as voters express divergent views. The contrast between voter opinions and recent polls showing Harris leading is striking, as highlighted by Daily Mail. It raises questions about the accuracy of polling data and the potential existence of a silent majority supporting Trump. Harris has also faced criticism for her limited media engagement. Despite being 3 weeks into her presidential campaign, she has yet to give a sit-down interview or hold a formal press conference. This approach has drawn comparisons to her media strategy as vice president, where she was notably featured on the cover of Time magazine without granting any interviews. The viral nature of these street interviews has sparked intense online discussion. Many social media users have criticized Lemon's approach, with one commenter stating, "The level of entitlement telling someone they're wrong about their own financial situation is truly mind-blowing." Right? As the 2024 presidential race heats up, these candid voter interactions highlight the importance of ground-level reporting and the potential pitfalls of relying solely on polling data or media narratives. They serve as a reminder that voter sentiment can be complex and often defies simple categorization. While it's crucial to note that these street interviews represent a small sample size and should not be considered definitive, they do underscore the need for comprehensive, unbiased reporting that captures the full spectrum of voter opinions.
We're here in Jersey, Atlantic City. Who do you support?
Trump.
I plead the fifth.
Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No. No, because I feel like women, nah, you're not going to give me that.
Your money's on Harris.
Yeah,
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
She doesn't have any experience.
She's
She
the
was
vice
with
president.
Biden.
She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. No. She has no experience.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a stronger background with the military and the world in general.
She was a prosecutor and an attorney general and a senator and a vice president. You're in a gambling town. Who's your money on?
I'm going to support the Democratic Party, but, I mean, Trump looks like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because I watch CNN. Trump or Harris?
Trump.
That's who's going to win.
That's who's going to win.
Who you support?
I support Trump. All the people that came to this country legally, it's not fair that they're letting all 10,000 to 15,000 people or 20,000 people here illegally. Have you seen San Diego? Yeah. They're coming off the boats, off the water right here, off the ocean. Did you know Biden was flying them in? Did you know Biden was flying them in? You didn't know that?
What do you Canadians think about what's going on here?
We think you're all nuts. We're just watching from afar and just enjoying the show.
I got to get out of Atlantic City. Where are we going to next?
I'm leaning towards Trump.
And why is that?
A lot of the stuff Kamala says is kind of like what Trump has said, like no taxes on tips was something that was kind of reiterated by Trump beforehand. She's just kind of been caught up in a lot of lies.
Kamala Harris on the cover, and yet not a single quote from her because she hasn't done an interview yet. And yet we're talking about the vibes.
I know. There's a very interesting line in that Time cover story which says that Harris specifically refused an interview request from Time magazine. And she still gets this very glowing coverage, which is a real lesson if you're trying to understand this from the point of the Harris campaign, which is she's getting glowing, celebratory news coverage all over the place. Her polls are going up. I mean, Joe Biden was trailing former President Trump nationally and in the swing states, and Harris has reversed that for the moment at least.
As you know, these new poll results reflect not just numbers, but people. We saw that firsthand visiting 3 critical battleground states this week, driving more than 1,000 miles across Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin to hear directly from voters, their voices very much backing up what the pollsters heard.
From the moment our trip began, we could see the change. The flip from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris energized and enthused the party.
The fact that it's a younger person, the fact that it's a woman, I mean, I love that. I feel safe now. That's how I feel.
You feel strongly that she'll probably win?
I do. I really do.
Winning Pennsylvania is critical for a Harris victory. In 2020, Biden won the Keystone State by just over 81,000 votes. And while the big cities like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia lean Democratic, the rest of the state has large swaths of red, like Westmoreland County, where Kurt Scalzotte lives.
I am going to go with Trump.
Scalzotte is like the majority of those in our poll who trust Donald Trump more than Harris to handle key issues like immigration and the economy.
I don't think he's a nice person, but I think when he ran the country before, he did a great job. Back to military, back to police, was hard on immigration. The economy was good.
Rolling into battleground Michigan, a state Biden flipped by 150,000 votes, one of Harris's biggest vulnerabilities has been on full display: the Biden administration's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. More than 101,000 Michigan residents voted uncommitted in the state's primary. Rima Mohammed is one of 2 uncommitted delegates headed to the convention this week.
As uncommitted voters, we want the situation in Gaza to stop. We want a bilateral ceasefire. You know, we want peace on both sides, but we also want to stop the funding of bombs for Israel.
Has anything changed since Biden stepped aside?
I do appreciate that Vice President Harris is listening to us. It is still not what we need, especially, we don't want to just hear words, we want to see action. We want to see policy.
Down the road on the University of Michigan's Ann Arbor campus, students echoed those concerns about Gaza.
As a Palestinian, she is not doing much for my country, and America is aiding these military weapons towards Israel. And I've known people that lost family members, and it's devastating.
But despite the challenges, the overall enthusiasm for Harris is skyrocketing, especially with young voters, where she now has a 20-point lead over Donald Trump and is up 18 points from where Joe Biden was.
I was one of those people who kind of felt like we didn't really have a chance if he were to drop out, because I wasn't entirely sure that the Democratic Party would get behind Kamala. But the fact that they did, that's even more of a bonus.
Key to any victory is winning over independents and those Republicans not happy with Donald Trump. Take Kalamazoo County, where Nikki Haley won 36% of the Republican primary vote. Liz Donahoe initially backed Haley, but instantly got on the Harris bandwagon.
I'm an independent moderate, and I try to pick the best candidate.
What do you like about Harris?
I like her charisma. I like her messaging. I think she's smart. I think she can deal with world leaders.
Berrien County, nestled on the coast of Lake Michigan, has voted Republican in every election since 2008. On a cloudy day on Waco Beach, we met the McNay family, which has somehow managed to bridge their vast political differences. Joy is Trump all the way.
He's going to make America great again.
And what does that mean?
That means safety. It means financial security. It means a strong economy and safety.
But her husband, Steve, believes pretty much the opposite.
I'll vote for the Democratic Party. Whether if it's Harris on the ticket, I'll vote for her just because she's probably going to be the Democratic nomination. But if there were another person in lieu of her, I would vote for that person.
Boy, you must have interesting conversations.
Not really.
Do you fight about it? Do you talk about it? Do you put it aside?
No, after the 2020 election, we pretty much stopped talking about it.
Across Lake Michigan, we traveled to southeastern Wisconsin. As we drove through the sea of green farmland, the divide between urban and rural and Harris versus Trump couldn't have been clearer, like here at Crane Grain Farms in Kenosha County. Owner Michael Daniels says he'll vote solely on the economy.
Our expenses, the inflation, it's hard to stay in front of it. Now with the collapsing ag world, the poor trade deficit, we need to balance this stuff. We have to get back to where we were.
You supported Trump in 2016. In 2020, you would do it again.
Without a doubt. I say I'm fiscally conservative, but I tend to be a little liberal when it comes to humans. But it goes back to we can't help everyone if we don't have a strong economy.
Like Pennsylvania and Michigan, Wisconsin is critical for Harris. 4 years ago, Biden carried Wisconsin by just under 21,000 votes, the closest margin of victory of the election. While our polls show support from black voters has swung 12 points in Harris's favor,
I'm leaning more towards Kamala.
Melody Davey has not bought in. Trump's rhetoric has clearly had an effect on her in an astonishing way.
Have you decided who you want to vote for?
Honestly, no. I'm leaning towards Trump.
And why is that?
A lot of the stuff Kamala says is kind of like what Trump has said, like no taxes on tips was something that was kind of reiterated by Trump beforehand. She's just kind of been caught up in a lot of lies.
Like what?
I think lying about her heritage was one of them.
You think she lied about her heritage?
Yeah, I believe she's just Indian. I don't think she's black.
She is always identified as black. She is half Indian.
Well, I think that's something we can definitely agree to disagree on.
And there was no convincing her otherwise. Here in Racine County, just south of Milwaukee, Democratic Party Chairwoman Kelly Gallagher is working to flip the county blue and thinks the change to Harris can do the trick.
What have you seen since Kamala Harris entered the race?
It has been like somebody opened all the windows and doors and let all the fresh air in. It really, within 24 hours, it just changed everything. All of a sudden, people were like running in our doors to talk about it, to find out how they could help, to see what was going on. It was remarkable. It was definitely more younger people, but also a stampede of women. which was, I think, the most noticeable. Women of all different ages, all coming in and being just so excited that it was just a sea change for us.
But Gallagher will keep working hard. She is not content with those polls and that swell of enthusiasm. She said she saw the same kind of support for Hillary Clinton and knows that in this tumultuous election season, things could very well change.